guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is gonna be a little bit of a different video, but you know it's gonna be about Japanese. That's always gonna be the case. So I wanted to make a video kind of about motivation and tips to stay active, to keep going, right? The number one rule in Japanese is that you want to keep going, and it's not something that you want to do once per week. You want to do it every single day. So there's tips that I have that I kind of wanted to make a video on motivation, but there's this one video that keeps just sticking out to me, and it's called Immersing Even When It Sucks by the username Mikumino. I've seen one of their videos, but I haven't seen this video. So I thought, let's do a reaction video, since reaction videos in language learning these days are really popular. Reaction videos are popular in general. I'm a YouTuber after all. But yeah, I'll link their channel down below. They actually have like 4 videos, and they're all really popular. Yeah, 4 videos, and they haven't uploaded in 2 years. So I'm hoping they're still studying Japanese, because their videos, at least I've seen this one, I think they're pretty good. Look at the views that they got. That's really insane. Come back. Upload more. Anyway, I'll link it down below if you want to check out their channel. But I am going to be pausing a lot and talking about my own tips. So if you don't want my pausing, then go watch the original video, which will be linked down below. All right, let's get started.
I still remember the utter frustration I felt when immersing after the short initial burst of motivation wore off. I'd gone through 1,000 words on Anki, and I guess I just expected that the amount of vocab I learned would somehow magically make immersion easy, but it didn't. Of course, the way to fix this is with more immersion, but actually getting myself to immerse was the issue itself. When sentence after sentence just goes in one—
Yes, I also, in the beginning, like I've said before, I did the Tango N5 deck, which is like, so it's based off of the JLPT, and there's 5 levels to the JLPT, and it starts at 5 being the easiest and number 1 being the hardest. And I went through a frequency deck of N5. I know I did all of N5, which I believe was 2,000 words, or was it 1,000? I can't remember that. I started N4, but I didn't really do N4. Obviously, I probably know all those words now. At least I know most of them, surely. At the very least, I know like almost all of them based off of like the way that I've been doing it. But yeah, I remember after, you know, you feel like you're doing a lot of Anki or like flashcards, and you've done maybe 1,000 or a couple of thousand, you think, oh, I'm good, because right, like I see so many other people saying like, oh, if you know like the 200 most common words, or it'll be like a kind of low amount of number, like it'll be like 100 words or 200 words of the most common things in any language, then you can understand like 80% of it. I'm here to say that's absolute bullcrap. Even if you do Anki cards, you think that you really know the words, you probably don't actually know them as well as you think they do. So when you see them in actual real life, it still feels like gibberish. And yeah, I actually went through that. I've talked about this before, but I went through the same exact thing, where it's like I don't really know the words as like I really thought. Like, yeah, Anki is kind of like, it's a whole different meaning when you see it in the real life, because if you make a flashcard, an Anki flashcard, you're only using one context of the sentence. So a lot of words in Japanese have like 5 different meanings, basically. And it's all depending on the context. And that's an exaggeration. Maybe not 5 meanings, but there's sometimes a few meanings that could, you know, using the same word. And unless you're making multiple sentences, flashcards with different contexts, then you don't really get the full idea of the word. So yeah, I totally get that.
Year and out the other, immersion can be just straight misery. Stuff like anime is meant to be consumed for entertainment, but spending an hour on a 20-minute episode staring at subtitles and not making any sense of these sentences isn't fun. It's tedious. Fortunately, I feel like I've mostly gotten over these initial growing pains, so I wanted to share what I did to get over that and have fun immersing.
I guess I should explain what immersing is. Maybe I'll do my own future video about this, but what immersing is it's pretty self-explanatory, is that you're immersing yourself in the language that you're trying to learn. This case is going to be Japanese. And I feel like the immersion learning approach was popularized by Katsumoto, who is the one that started AJAT. He's not the first person to talk about immersion learning, but when it comes to Japanese, AJAT, which stands for All Japanese All the Time. So yeah, it was a website created by this guy named Katsumoto, which I'm pretty sure wasn't his real name. But because of him, things like Matt versus Japan, who is really good at Japanese, and other people, it just spawned like this cult. You know, I say that as a joke. I don't really think it's a cult, but like it was a big movement, AJAT. The website has been taken down now, or at least it's not up anymore, but there is a playlist on YouTube of all the blogs from the creator Katsumoto. And the main method was basically creating your own immersion environment, right? We don't live in Japan, right? Or unless you do, you're lucky. But even if it's not Japanese, the idea of immersing yourself in a language is to create the environment at home, which is why I got all this crap around me. You want to create your own environment, because if it's anything like my case, I have like 2 Japanese people maybe that live in my town, so it's not exactly easy to make like Japanese friends and speak Japanese every single day. So what you do instead is you create that immersion environment at home. You're constantly filling all the gaps with Japanese as much as you possibly can. That's what immersion learning is. I want to do an AJAT video because I love AJAT. I love the method. Like, it's just really cool, and it's got a lot of history. I want to make a video about that pretty soon. But anyway, yeah, he also talked about like, you know, spending what, it was like an hour on one episode or something. I don't know if he said an hour, but yeah, I don't think you should do that. I really don't think you should be stuck on an anime episode. If you don't understand something, try to understand it, but if you don't, move on, because you're gonna die from boredom if you're just stuck on one thing trying to understand it, and especially you're trying to beat yourself up for not understanding it. That's bad. Don't do that. I've talked about this before a lot, but yeah, you want to make it fun. All right, so we got tip number 1, which is rewatching content. Okay, let's see what they have to say about this.
Easier was rewatching things that I've seen in English. This might seem really obvious, but a big part of why immersing can be unenjoyable is because you're not getting anything. It's not fun at all to watch something and only understand that a girl is speaking, unless you're a Hoshiomi.
You nice. Yeah.
So instead of
VTubers, I never got into VTubers. Like, I think the only one that I kind of got into a little bit was, what was her name? Rushia or something? I can't remember her actual name, but I think she stopped being a VTuber. And then the only other one I got into was K-san. She was pretty cool, but I stopped watching. I just can't stick with it, and VTubers are just huge, and I just never got the hype. But they're really good, right? That's just not what I enjoy. But they're really good for hearing natural spoken Japanese. So, you know, if you're one of the freaking millions of people that are actually super into VTubers, then that's a great way to immerse in Japanese and learn Japanese too. Like, right, just turn on the subtitles and, you know, use that.
So instead of stressing about not following the content at all, you can use your memory of the content to lighten the load that your brain is carrying to instead focus on understanding words you've seen from your spaced repetition. I remember feeling...
Yeah, so the thing about like AJAT and a lot of those people is that the idea is that you don't want to be using English to learn Japanese. The idea is you want to like immerse yourself, and you basically want to pretend that English doesn't exist at all. You don't want to rely on English too much. But on the contrary, knowing what could happen in a episode, and you know, even Matt versus Japan has talked about this too and recommends doing this, which he was a huge AJATer. I completely agree with this. Especially if you're a complete beginner and you know like nothing, say like you don't know a lot of words, but you want to do some immersion, rewatching the shows that you do know in English already, just knowing what happens can really, really help you associate with some of the Japanese words that are being spoken with stuff that you already know that's happened. So if you're hearing a word a lot and you're like, wait a minute, I know what they said in English at this part, so maybe this word means this, you know, the English meaning. That's not always going to be the case, but that could, if it keeps you going, to be able to know what happens in an episode. Just watch it in English, read it, you know, and then go back and rewatch it in Japanese. I used to do that with Clannad. I would read the, you know, the English subtitles, and then I would, on Link, I think I would read it in Japanese a lot. Yeah, it actually did work a lot for me. And, you know, especially then, because I didn't really know a lot of words that I do now. And eventually, the more words that you learn, you're going to stop doing that because you'll just be able to, you know, understand a lot of it. I think that's a great way to do it as a beginner. And so I totally agree with that. It's like, mainly you want to stick with Japanese, but using just the meaning alone, or just like looking at the summary of an episode, like a, you know, an English summary, could be more than enough to, you know, keep you going.
Feeling dumb when I first started immersing, since I was struggling through easy shows. However, once I started rewatching some of my favorite anime, I found it a lot easier to enjoy immersion. Blue Moon to You is my favorite anime of all time, and when I switched from new shows to rewatching Blue Moon to You, I felt like I was unlocking a whole new world. Next is not watching only easy shows. This might sound counterintuitive because a large part of learning through immersion is getting comprehensible input, right? Well, yes, but that doesn't mean you have to watch only really low-level stuff. The common advice is to start with slice of life content since it's easy and usually emulates speech and...
Hey, I am a firm believer of slice of life content. I love slice of life anime. And maybe that's why this has been easier for me too, is because even when I was watching stuff only in English, I was still a big fan of slice of life. Slice of life, gang, rise up. rise up slice of life gig. I love that crap, which is why I have always recommended it. So when I started learning Japanese, I'm like, okay, yeah, no, that's definitely the way to go. But at the end of the day, you know, not everyone loves it. I have a few friends actually that can't stand slice of life. I have some that do, some and more that don't. And they only like things like, you know, Attack on Titan and Chainsaw Man and stuff with action in it. And I get it, right? At the end of the day, if you don't enjoy it, maybe you shouldn't do it. But I think it would benefit you to just learn to enjoy slice of life. If you will be doing yourself a favor, if you can, watch Clannad. Just trust me. Just listen, hear me out, okay? Watch Clannad. I don't care if you don't like slice of life. Watch it all. Clannad and Clannad After Story. And then it might change your mind because it's a masterpiece, all right? I had to say it. But yeah, when I was first learning Japanese as well, I know this one show, Shirokuma Cafe, I think is what it's called. Like that show was mentioned everywhere because it was supposed to be like really easy to understand. It's about like a freaking panda, and it is funny. You know, I did watch it, but I didn't stick with it because I really didn't like the show that much. But what I did watch of it was funny. Like, so, you know, give it a shot. But if you don't like it, don't watch it, because I dropped it and I never picked it back up because it just wasn't super interesting to me. But for some reason I like slice of life. So yeah, I guess I just wasn't a big animal enjoyer because that show is literally about animals. But I just remember that was a great example because that show is recommended everywhere, but I just couldn't do it. But it's always going to be a balance, right? So preferably you want to watch the easy stuff because it's going to be easier to comprehend that, especially when you don't know a lot of words in Japanese. But at the same time, if you can't do it, like the creator of AJAT always said, fun is gonna trumps everything. So whatever is fun for you, do what is fun for you. See, you know what I did? I rewired my brain. I can deal with like stuff that I don't think is fun. I know this is kind of contrary to what I said about Shirokuma Cafe, but I just couldn't do it. I don't know why. But like, at least when it comes to visual novels, when I read a lot, I can go through something that I'm not exactly super into because I like learning new words. And so that became my motivation. So it's this weird like brain hack that you can kind of do to yourself in order to make yourself enjoy something that you wouldn't necessarily enjoy. Like, I don't know, it's a weird thing, but that's what I do. It's like in my brain, I know that this is going to help me, so I'll do it.
Everyone likes slice of life, and if that's the case, it's best to just avoid it, even though it might be more comprehensible. Even with shows that are technically more difficult, you can find comprehensible input. It's about finding a balance, and even then, you don't even need to be that balanced. Comprehending 40% of something that you enjoy is better than comprehending 70% of something.
Clannad, there it is! I couldn't possibly speak good enough about Clannad. It's a banger, masterpiece.
And burning yourself out from boredom. The main goal here is consistency. So if you find a show that you consider way above your level and are therefore meaningless words, as long as you're enjoying it, it's perfectly fine. And the opposite can be said too. Watching shows way below your skill level might not be the most optimal, but if you're still enjoying it, then just watch it.
At the end of the day, that's what Katsumoto always said, the creator of AJAT, is that you have to enjoy what you're doing. And that's absolutely true. I will say this though too. Not everything in life is about enjoyment. Okay? Let me be clear. You have to enjoy what you do to stick with it. But there are gonna be times where you gotta do some grinding. Take for instance, right? Like exercising and running. You're not gonna enjoy it while you're doing it all the time, but you wanna find the best thing that you enjoy. I feel like in life, you have to be comfortable with being a little bit uncomfortable. These are just facts. You have to be a little uncomfortable in life sometimes. Fun is important, but there is some grinding that has to be done. So just always remember that like, it's not always going to be super fun, but try to find the most fun thing, I think, is the way to do it.
Of learning Japanese, or really any skill, is to not stop. So far, this is only covering the act of watching the show, but if you're following this methodology, then you'd know that just watching it is only part of it. Sentence mining, while technically not required, is so helpful that I would recommend you absolutely do it unless it's preventing you from continuing with Japanese. But the process can be kind of painful.
Sentence mining. Okay, so I'm pretty sure he's like huge on AJAT. I'm pretty sure he's just like an AJAtter, right? So if you don't know what sentence mining is, the idea behind sentence mining, again, this was a proponent of like Stephen Krashen and AJAT and Katsumoto, the creator of that website. It sparked this big old boom of Japanese learners. And that's how we got like Matt versus Japan, who's really great at Japanese. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but so how you sentence mine is you take a Japanese sentence, right? Whatever it is. But let's just say there's only one word that I don't know. and it's like, it's a, whatever it is. That would be the ideal sentence to sentence mine. You want to take that one word in that entire sentence that you don't know, and you want to make a flashcard out of that. And that is called I+1. I don't exactly know, what does I+1 actually stand for? I can't remember, but that's what it means. It's basically a way for you to learn a new piece of information without getting overwhelmed. So learning a sentence with one new word is a lot easier than learning a sentence with like 5 unknown words, right? Because you're not going to be able to comprehend that sentence. You don't understand what's even going on in the sentence. So that's really helpful for learning, basically. And yeah, as I mentioned before, you're not always going to have all the context that you really need, but it is a great start just to make flashcards out of things, and eventually that'll help you remember it. So yeah, I+1 is great, especially if you're a flashcard user. Again, just keep your flashcards lower than you think you need to, and I think you'll be good, honestly, at the end of the day. But let's see, what's our tip?
Simplest and easiest method possible to sentence mine. I personally use JP Mining Note in conjunction with ASP Player to make my mining process.
So he's using, as you can see, he's using Yomi-tan.
And I have a beautiful card laid out for me. This is absolutely not the only way to do this, though. JP Mining Note itself has some note type.
I've never heard of JP Mining Note. I've never ever heard of that. I don't even know where where'd you even find that? Everyone that I've seen always just talks about Anki and like using Yomi-chan, or it used to be Yomi-chan, but yeah, Yomi-tan now. And yeah, and I've talked about this before, but yeah, you could do the same thing. You can connect Yomi-tan to your Anki.
I press a hotkey and I have a beautiful card laid out.
Yeah, just like you did right there, you can connect your Yomi-tan to your Anki and set it up to where you can just do one click, where it has all the information that you need on there. But there is a lot of a setup and kind of like learning how to do it. You can do it. I remember I used to have that too, I believe. So maybe whatever he's using also takes a screenshot as well. Yeah, because what I did when I was making flashcards is I just used ShareX, and then I would just use like Yomi-tan. And that's how I would create my flashcards. Maybe whatever he's using actually does it like seamlessly. It's kind of cool.
This is absolutely not the only way to do this, though. JP Mining Note itself has some note type alternatives, and you can also use other media players, with a very popular one being MPV. All of these have prior setups that kind of convoluted, but I think it is so worth it. Yeah,
so what a lot of people used, I guess now, is MPV. I've used both of them. I used, when I say both of them, I'm talking about another one that I used. So there's VLC and then there's MPV. I remember I've used both of them. I use VLC now because I don't really do that stuff, but I know with like MPV, you could set up these like scripts to where, yeah, at the click of a button, you can just like, it'll take a screenshot and it'll do like everything for you. But I've forgotten how to do all of that. I think I like had it set up and then it just kind of broke on me and I just kind of stopped using it. But yeah, those methods, as far as I know, are still out there and very, very helpful to do for free.
For the sake of making your immersion as fluid as possible.
Yeah. So the tip is to basically you want to make it as effortless as humanly possible. Like, you want it to be one click. If you're going to be doing flashcards and doing the I+1, you don't want it to take. So yeah, you don't want it to take any more than a minute. Like, I would say a minute is way too long. You don't even want it to take 30. You want it to take like 15 to 30 seconds to maybe create a flashcard. If that's the way that you're going to be doing it. If you're going to be doing the I+1 and flashcards, then you want it to be as fast as possible. So like, there's ways you could set it up that I don't remember, but as I mentioned before, hey, Migaku, this is what I swear, listen, I know. I always mention Migaku. Yes, I have a link. Hold up. That's why I like Migaku so much, is because you don't have to set up anything. It's so easy. You just install the plugin. You open it up, like you just play your video, which you can also play anime with Migaku as well. Click the word that you don't know. It's actually recommending this word, and then bam. Oh, wait, don't do it that way. You can do it that way, but just do that, and you just made a flashcard out of it. Look at this. It's magic. This is why Migaku is great, especially for like, doing flashcards. Okay, here's a word I don't know, even though it's like, katakana, whatever. This is just the point. So like, if you're doing I+1, this is a word that I supposedly don't know, right? It's the only word out of this. You just click this, and it just automatically, oh, okay, it needs my permission. And just like that, it created the card. It's got the sound and everything.
それもありますし、あとこういうピラミッドって昔の
I swear to you, I didn't even know this tip was here. I'm not one of those YouTubers that was like, trying to think, how can I mention Migaku? This is just a perfect place to mention Migaku because it's just so easy. And bam, I can continue with my immersion. And you can even do like shortcuts. But I remember for free, I was able to set all this up like with MPV. But like when things get updated, it does like break. That's what I do remember actually happening to me. But like, even if I don't have a lot of time, like I could literally go to the sentences and I could see, this is one word I don't know right here. I could just like go to here.
なので今は多分そのシャトルとかはないんですけど、もちろん今の人の中にもそういう意識はまだ残ってるんですよ。まだ残ってるんですよ。潜在的というか、
Senzai Teki? Okay. Senzai Teki's latent potential. So I could just go bam, create that word.
潜在的というか、まあ
はい
思うところはあるんで
あ
すね
るんですよね。
Like I didn't have to really like do anything. I didn't have to install anything confusing. You just download the extension and it's just like that. So yeah, you can check it out. You can check my link. I just thought, hey, that's a great place to do it. This is why I really enjoyed Mikaku because when I first started learning, I had to learn how to set all that crap up, and it is very time consuming. That's going to take time away from your immersion. But you know, if you just want to fork out the cash, then you don't have to learn any of that stuff. So it really just depends on who you are. If you have any money, if you don't, then do the free stuff. At the end of the day, it's going to take time, but you can set it up for free as well. I'm sure Migaku doesn't like me mentioning the free methods, but oh well, you know, they do exist. Imagine the old days where like if you wanted to know a word, you could even Google it. You just had to pull out a paper dictionary. People actually learn that way. There's people that still learn that way. If that's what's fun for you, then you should do that. Right? If you don't, for some reason, are against online dictionaries, don't do that. But that's why I always say this is the best time to freaking learn Japanese because we have these amazing tools to us, available to us.
Popular is Migaku. I've never used Migaku
That's how you know I've never seen this video. Okay, well, there you have it, right? He's even saying Migaku as well.
myself, but I do have a friend that uses it, and similarly to my setup, Migaku allows
Oh,
for
God.
one-click cards and
Yes.
is generally pretty user-friendly in its interface and setup.
No, it's very user-friendly. I was so impressed with all the customization you can do in it. That's why I freaking love it. So yeah, use my link. Use my link if you're interested. You want a free month? You want a 10% off the free lifetime? Oh, yeah, use my link, please. No, I'm just playing, but you know, if you're gonna do it.
It's the big one that everyone stresses is to embrace ambiguity. If you follow Refold
Oh,
at all,
yeah.
then you know that this is something they stress a ton, and for pretty good reason. Getting over what you don't
Oh,
understand
Refold.
is
Okay,
key
so-
to letting your mind focus on what you do and almost understand, which is
Okay,
weird.
so he was following Refold. So Refold was co-created by Matt versus Japan and somebody else. So that makes sense why a lot of the AJAT stuff is also in here. So it's all the same stuff at the end of the day. It really kind of is.
The easiest and largest gains are to be had. This is crucial to enjoying immersion. We're already kind of masters of tolerating ambiguity in our native languages. We just don't really think about it or mind it because we've been doing it since we were born. But while you can be told to tolerate ambiguity, it's difficult to actually be able to. I found it best to break down the mindset to be easier to digest.
Yeah, so I don't know what he's gonna say, but I want to speak on what I think about ambiguity, then we'll see if we agree with each other. Tolerating ambiguity was something that Matt versus Japan's, and that's what I remember. That's when I was first watching his videos back in the day when I wanted to learn. That stuck with me, tolerating ambiguity. Think of it like this, right? It's about like if you want to do something in life, and I've learned this a lot, you have to have a goal in mind, right? It's up here. The thing that you want is up here. You don't want to think about the ways that you can't do something, right? So if I have a goal, whatever it is, whether it's losing weight or anything, I don't want to think about the ways I can't do it. You just want to think about the ways that it is possible and what you can do to achieve that goal. And you don't want to stress about the minute details, because if you do that, some little small thing is going to catch you up and you're going to stop forever. And this is the same thing when it comes to learning Japanese. By tolerating ambiguity, right, and not spending an hour on one episode of anime, you're way better off by skipping something that you don't know and not stressing over it. Like, if there's something that you don't know, try to figure it out. But if you can't, don't spend any more time on it and move on. That's what I do, especially with reading. I try to do it, and if it doesn't make sense this time, then you will encounter it again. If it's important enough, you're going to encounter the word or the grammar or whatever it is again later on. And when you do, you might actually understand it this time because you've maybe seen it enough. When you tolerate ambiguity, that's the point of it. I think language learning has so many parallels to life. So like say back when I lost like 90 pounds, true story. Whenever I did that, I didn't know anything about calories. I didn't know anything about dieting. I was like, I'm just gonna go run. I figured if I run enough, the weight will come off. That was my only plan. I had no other plan and I just did it. And on the way, I learned more and more and more. And I got to my goal because I wasn't stressing about, well, am I running right? What about my running clothes? I think I just ran in my normal clothes. I probably ran in pants, I bet. If I was stressing about like, oh, what shorts should I wear to run? Oh, well, I don't have the shorts, so I can't lose weight now. So I guess I might as well just give it up, right? It's just so stupid. So don't stress over that stuff. Just keep going.
About why you're frustrated and why you shouldn't be frustrated. For example, you might be frustrated because after hours upon hours of immersion,
Yes.
you still don't understand things.
This is going to
But you
happen.
should then remind yourself that learning Japanese isn't a linear endeavor. It's
No.
common to come into this approach thinking you'll learn things step by step and then just end up knowing Japanese, but realistically, that's just not how language acquisition works. Acquiring a language is a dynamic and ever-changing process, and you're going to be building up different skills that feel like they aren't related to each other. But if you look
Yeah,
back,
the way that I equate it is kind of like, have you ever tried to give advice to someone that's younger than you? Say that like you've been through a breakup in your life, right? I've gone through that. I remember being really, really down about that kind of thing. I thought it was the end of the world. It was, for me at the time, felt like the end of the world. I was like, man, this sucks. Like, I was down in the dumps. And I remember at the time, people would try to talk to me and they would try to tell me it's gonna be okay. Like, you're gonna look back on this and it's not gonna be nothing, right? You're just gonna laugh about this. And they were totally right, but I wasn't there yet. Because I wasn't there, I didn't understand what they were talking about. And no matter how much somebody talked to me and told me one thing, I wasn't going to be able to understand it because I didn't have the life experience. And language learning and almost everything else in life is going to be the exact same way. When it comes to losing weight, right? You're going to get on the scale and it's going to go up and it's going to not have the number or it's not going to go down like you want it to. But if you just keep going, you know, it could just be water. Like maybe you drink too much water and it's water weight. It's just an example of that. Like, it's not a linear progress. In fact, when it comes to losing weight, it's always going to be up and down, right? It's going to go up, down, and then it's going to go down, and then up, down, up, down, up, down, and it's going to go down. That's how it is with language learning too, which is why I love language learning. It's just like it's my kind of stuff, man. I really love it because it really teaches you about life. It's just the same thing. Everything's the same. You just got to keep going and trust in the process. Belief is one of the most important things. Just believing that you can be fluent in Japanese, it's going to take you all the way there. Because if you believe that you can learn Japanese, you're not going to think about the ways you can't learn Japanese. And if you think about why you can't, then you're going to stop. So don't do that.
you have to shift your mindset from I'm not understanding this to I will understand
Yeah, it's
this.
okay
By
to not
forcing myself
understand.
to look at how much I am comprehending things, it shifts my brain away from
yeah.
being frustrated at not understanding and towards working on understanding what's within
Yeah,
my
I
reach.
spoke about this with Link as well, like, because I'm a big Link user, but like, it really doesn't matter what you use to learn Japanese as well. I remember when there was like so many yellow words on the page where I couldn't understand anything. Like, basically, it was just showing that I didn't know all these words. There was hundreds of them. A year later, I look back and I'm like, oh, there's like no unknown words on this page anymore. Like, that's super motivating, and that's gonna motivate anyone. That's what it's all about right there. Embrace the ambiguity. You're not gonna understand everything. You're not gonna be perfect, but if you just keep going, eventually, no matter how long it takes, as long as you don't stop, you will get there. And language learning is not a talent, by the way. You don't have to be talented to lose weight either. Talent is overrated. Just don't worry about talent. Just focus on doing.
So far, we've only covered half of the problem, which is making the act of immersion itself enjoyable. Even if it's fun, sometimes you might just lack the motivation to start immersing at all. And the biggest thing you can do to keep immersing, even when lacking motivation, is to not run off of motivation. Motivation is a very temporary
I was gonna say,
spur of
yeah,
the moment thing, and you
that's-
can't rely on it if you want to meet your long-term goals. Being a generally undisciplined person, particularly in terms of studying, I thought this was something that I would struggle with a lot. But I found a few methods that have helped me and my friends.
All right, method number one, stop using the phone. Stop using your phone. That just fixed like 90% of people's problems. Just stop using the phone. Put the phone down. Put the Instagram down. Yeah, it goes exactly the same with weight loss or anything. Just like, you have to be able to do something even when you feel like you don't want to do it. But also, on the other hand, I will say this as well. Like, you have to be real with yourself. If you find that it's like, it's a chore to want to study, you know, Japanese, you know, maybe it's time to question, do you actually even want to learn Japanese? And I've talked about this in another video too. Like, the reasons why you can't learn Japanese or whatever. I don't know whatever I titled it. Like, think to yourself, if you're really struggling to do it, like, do you really want to do it at the end of the day? And if the answer is yes, okay, maybe I'm struggling right now, which, you know, I have also gone through this before too. Even just recently, like this past few weeks, I was kind of feeling like I could be doing better. I could be doing more. And you know what I did? I started doing more. You're gonna go through those phases where like sometimes you're not gonna be as motivated for whatever reason. A lot of times, if you take a vacation, I noticed that kind of throws me off. If I've gone on vacation and you get out of the routine that you're normally used to, having a set routine to where you know what you're gonna do every day is very, very important, because it doesn't take motivation to do that. You just know that this is what I gotta do. I'm gonna do it. So if you find that you're on your phone on that Instagram and TikTok all day, then maybe uninstall it, because unlike me, it's probably not your job to do it. So just uninstall it. Just stop using it, right? That's the only reason I can't stop using a lot of this stuff, is because it's actually my job. You guys don't know, I'm a YouTuber. I have another channel. It's only for like certain stuff, but like on Twitter especially, like I have to stay up to date with stuff, and it really sucks because I get sucked into it. Stop using it, especially if it's not your job. Yeah, that's my biggest advice. And then you'll find that, you know, maybe I do have time to study Japanese. You have a lot of time to study Japanese. You're just not using it.
Finding accountability partners has been huge for me in staying disciplined. If you could find people who you share a goal with, you can keep pushing each other to achieve that. I'm in the Refold server, and while I don't really talk much there, seeing others continuing to immerse and improve inspires me to also keep moving. Immersion doesn't have to be a solo act either, and if you could find people to immerse with, it can be really fun. But this might
so I agree and disagree with this. I think I can use this with working out as well. I remember a time where me and my friend would go to the gym every single day after work. We also worked together, but we would go to the gym after work. So it was easy. It was easy to do it, and that was motivating. And I remember my muscles were growing. I was getting buff. I actually was. People were telling me, they're like, hey, I can see that you're working out. I swear I'm not making that up. Like, that sounds lame as hell, but I swear it was like for the first time I was getting compliments. And it was thanks to me and my friend going to work out every single day together, which was great. But then something happened and we stopped going together. And you know what I did? I wasn't as accountable, and I wasn't doing it as much as I was doing it before, and my muscles got smaller. So basically, you want to be able to do all of this on your own. Finding partners will motivate you, but if you rely on partners too much, eventually they're gonna let you down. Something's gonna happen. They're gonna move away. They're gonna stop being interested in learning Japanese. They're going to die. This got dark, but like anything could have happened. So you have to rely on your own motivation. You have to create your own environment. Make it effortless as possible. When you wake up, put your headphones in with Japanese. As soon as you wake up, like non-negotiable. Create set times that I'm going to study Japanese for this long, and just stick with it and eliminate the distractions. It's mostly about the stuff that you need to eliminate out of your life rather than what you need to do. If you just eliminate the crap, you will stick to it. And it'll be a lot easier, and you'll thank yourself and you'll feel a lot better for doing it. This is what I'm always learning myself, and I'm not perfect. And I never want to speak from a place where like I'm saying that I'm perfect. It's about getting back on that horse. If you've been slacking lately, just get back on the horse. Don't think about it. Freaking don't beat yourself up. Just get back on that horse.
To question how you can inspire each other to keep moving. If you have an accountability partner for something like going to the gym, you can usually have pretty concrete things to keep track of to recognize each other's progress. The same can be applied to language learning too. Personally, I like tracking the time I spend on immersion with a tool like Toggle Track. This helps me see how much time I'm spending on immersion as learning too. Personally, I like tracking the time I spend on immersion with a tool like Toggle Track.
Tracking
this helps
time
me see how much time I'm spending on immersion, as well as
really
providing neat graphs and some kind of reward to my brain. I'm a simple person. I like seeing numbers go up, and this lets me see numbers go up.
Oh, I love seeing numbers go up, right? Whether that be like seeing the amount of flashcards you have, maybe in Anki or Migaku, how many words you know, or in Link. That's why I love about Link, especially because Link tells me how long I've studied. It tells me how many words I've read, then I have like streaks and stuff. So that stuff really does help you, but it's not the end all be all to everything. But like, yeah, that stuff really does help me personally, just like having something to show you, oh, this is my progress. And I talk about this a lot with like my gamer score back in the day. I would buy games that I didn't even care about so I can get my gamer score up. Just every time you get an achievement, it would increase your gamer score. And it was kind of a flex, but like it was genius because it made me want to play games that even I wasn't even interested in just to get the stupid meaningless number up. But in language learning, it's the same thing. It's like, man, seeing that number go up is like dopamine hit, man. I love it. So instead of scrolling through the shorts, freaking get those numbers up, baby.
Tracking anime is another way I get numbers to
Oh
go
yeah,
up.
that's another great way to
Platforms
do
like
it too.
AnyList or My Anime List.
Yeah, My Anime List.
is
What's another
super
one?
Easy, and they also have
Book
some neat
Meter
stats
is
you can
another
look at
one
too.
that I've kind of
Finally,
used
the
a little
last
bit.
thing I do to stay consistent is to make a routine, but more importantly, to treat my routine like a loose suggestion.
Yeah, we already talked about having a routine. Yeah, this is probably kind of a long video now, including my steps, but this was a fantastic video. You know, I don't quite agree with the like relying on friends or whatever, but that's pretty much the only thing that I kind of didn't disagree with. Like, it will help you. At the end of the day, I think you need to create your own environment and try to do it. And if you can find people to be friends with and keep yourself accountable, then do so. But at the end of the day, if something happens, do it yourself. That's pretty much all I have to say. But I think this was a fantastic video. Come back. Where are you? I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've watched this video, so I don't know if they're coming back, but I need to know. Did you give up on Japanese or not? You can't do this. But anyway, yeah, go check out Mikumino. Go check them out. They honestly make really good videos. Obviously, their numbers reflect that, but hope this helped you. Hope my tips also helped you. I think that I've pretty much said everything I can when it comes to motivation. Just remember, at the end of the day, in life, this is the biggest life tip. Get a goal. Don't think about why you can't do it. Aim for it and just think about what can I do to achieve that goal, and forget the rest. Put the work in. You'll find out that, hey, you know, you can reach that goal. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out Mikaku if you haven't. Yeah, you can use my link. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.